Dang it. What's going on, guys? Tags here. I probably don't look like you would expect me to. Obviously, I am here because it's Halloween, and I also happen to lose a bet to Mr. Sylvester and he's not here today, so I'm going to be here as Napoleon Dynamite and living up to my end of the bet because that's what I do. So yeah, we're going to be covering the waiver wire targets today. We were hoping that there would be some trade deadline action going on right around this time so I can cover it live for you. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot taking place, which kind of sucks because we've been waiting for that. So, but I will touch on all the waiver wire targets, and I am going to obviously take as many as your questions as I can. But keep in mind, guys, is that the sit-start questions, I have not gone through all the games yet. It takes me some time to research those, but Bobby will be doing his podcast or his live stream on Thursday, and I'll be doing my start or sit episode on Sunday morning like I always do. Yeah, I lost again. It's not great, guys. Drew, I don't even know what to say. I mean, when you're starting 4 Bengals, it really sucks. But it is what it is, man. And again, I lost by like 1.2 points this week, so it is what it is, and here I am. So hopefully you guys enjoy Napoleon Dynamite. Anyways, I even have the shirt and everything. So funny story is that my brother actually was Napoleon Dynamite, so I was able to borrow this costume from him so I can get it for the live stream. So let's go ahead and move into the waiver wire targets, guys. Trey Carson is the one that a lot of people are going to be looking at because they're like, well, you know, he was the number 1 running back for the Lions, and they're playing the Raiders this week. Mike, isn't this a good matchup? No, I don't want Trey Carson. I'm going to let somebody else deal with that headache. It could very well be Ty Johnson this week. We don't know. But what I can tell you is that the Raiders have been a good run defense, and they're not a matchup you need to target with running backs, let alone one. He was actually number 3 in snaps on that team. So I don't want Trey Carson. Let someone else deal with that. I mean, if you can get him for $1, I suppose it's worth that. But I don't want him. I was expecting, actually, and we still could hear, obviously, that the Lions signed someone off the street like a Jay Ajayi or something like that to help fill that role. Moving down, Danny Amendola, he's interesting, right? He's only played in 6 games this year. In 3 of those games, he has totaled 95 yards or more. Again, this is another guy that's going against the Raiders this week, another Lions player. He's someone that's a decent bye week filler. You know, I have Matt Stafford as a top 5 quarterback play once again this week, and it's because they don't really have a run game. Oakland has been good against the run. That secondary has been atrocious, so I expect Matthew Stafford to throw for 300 yards again, and Danny Amendola is like that. He's acting as if like the Golden Tate of that offense, or I guess you could even say Theo Riddick, that short target that's very stable, that West Coast offense that you can kind of feel. So Danny Amendola, if you're looking for someone to fill a bye week issue for you, wide receiver, I don't think that he's a bad fill wide receiver for this week. That's where I'm at with him. Darren Fells is Bobby was more excited about Darren Fells than I am. I'm not really a big Darren Fells guy. He is splitting snaps with Jordan Akins. There was a lot of things going on last week, right? Like we had Will Fuller inactive for the team. We had Kiki QT not playing. Fells does have the touchdown upside, obviously with Deshaun Watson, but knowing that Watson in 4 career games against the Jags, he has thrown just 2 touchdowns. And that is obviously going to limit the upside for the entire offense, and let alone a tight end who's in a timeshare. I believe there's better options that you could find on the waiver wire, like a Jonnu Smith. Going down, Darrell Henderson. This is going to be somewhat of a popular one because he totaled more touches than Todd Gurley, but let me be clear about this. I don't think that Darrell Henderson is somebody that you should be willing to spend more than maybe $5 fab bucks on. And the reason I say that is because he's on his bye this week, obviously not playing. But on top of that, he's still in a 3-way committee here. Todd Gurley's there, Malcolm Brown's there. The only reason that Darrell Henderson had those touches is because it was against Cincinnati. They had won that game. They want to take it easy on Todd Gurley. I get it. But this is not the offense that you thought it once would be. That's basically where I'm at with it. I don't think this is a must handcuff situation like we thought it would be with Malcolm Brown or Darrell Henderson, back earlier in the year. It's just not a match. It's not a backfield you have to have. So I'm not willing to spend more than maybe $5 fab bucks on him. Just not exciting for me. All right. Anthony Miller. Anthony Miller is someone that, again, Bobby did like, and he put him on this list. I'm not as excited about Bobby on him just because we did see his targets, escalating, and I thought we were moving towards a direction where Anthony Miller would be a fantasy viable option. But, I mean, guys, Mitch Trubisky has been pretty awful. And so looking at this matchup, a lot of people are thinking, well, it's the Eagles, and it should be a decent matchup. The Eagles have allowed a lot of fantasy points to wide receivers, but in the slot, they've actually been better. They also got Ronald Darby back last week, so they should take a step in the right direction. But again, I'm worried about the Bears as a whole. I don't know if I could ever plug Anthony Miller in and be confident about it. You know what I mean? Especially in a matchup like this where it's like, if I can't feel confident starting him against the Eagles, when am I really going to feel confident starting him? So that's my concern with him. And that's why I don't feel like you need to. Guys, thank you as always for showing up for the Waiver Wire show. Definitely appreciate it. If you can do me a favor and click the like button, it really does help us out. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, because as you guys know, well, if you don't know, I do a Sunday morning show at 11 Eastern time where I sit down with you guys for a full hour, take as many sit-start questions as I can, talk about all the injuries that have taken place. The inactives are released while I'm doing that show, so I'm able to talk about those things live with you. So, again, I will definitely do that on Sunday mornings. And Bobby also does his Thursday start or sit show right here. So make sure you subscribe. All right. So going down the list, the next 5, we have Mark Walton. Kenyon Drake was a guy that obviously the Dolphins traded. He's going to be playing Thursday night for the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals made a trade for him for a 6th-round pick. Could be a 5th, but whatever the case is, he's no longer with the Dolphins. The Dolphins are going to be playing the Jets this week, which it hasn't been a great matchup for running backs. They've only allowed 3.3 yards per carry, but they did just trade away Leonard Williams, one of their defensive tackles. That definitely helps. It just helps to know that you have a running back who he's garnered at least 12 touches in each of the last 3 games, up to 15. So basically, he's a guy that could fill some bye week slots for you. It's not exciting. I get that. But Mark Walton it's rare to find a starting running back on the waiver wire. So he's someone I would be willing to, 8 to 10 fab bucks, nothing crazy. But again, if you need running back help, he can do that. Alan Lazard. He's someone that if you're like looking to just stash someone on your bench and you're looking for a wide receiver that could potentially turn into something, I think Lazard is interesting. Aaron Rodgers has kind of turned the boat around. After coming out of the gate somewhat slow, over the last 3 weeks, he's been on fire, finishing as a top 12 quarterback in each of those games, throwing tons of touchdowns over the last couple weeks. And Alan Lazard was on the field more than any other Packers wide receiver against the Chiefs. Now, Devontae Adams is going to come back, but Lazard was also the most targeted wide receiver. He has earned Aaron Rodgers' trust. I mean, he was targeted 5 times against the Chiefs. He caught all 5 targets. It was only like 42 yards, but still, he has earned Rodgers' trust, whereas Marquez Valdez-Scantling, it's now been 4 games that they've been without Devontae Adams. In those 4 games, he's had 11 targets. I think Marquez Valdez-Scantling is droppable at this point. I do think that Alan Lazard is worth a pickup. I don't know if you need to start him. If we hear that Devontae Adams is out another week, then Lazard is absolutely on the streaming radar. Going down, Alexander Mattison and Rashad Penny. These two I'm going to put in the same exact category. These are high-end handcuffs, guys. Tony Pollard belongs in this conversation as well. So if any of those guys are on the waiver wire, Kareem Hunt can also go in that conversation. You're essentially looking for somebody that if the starter were to go down, you're going to be locked. You have a running back that's locked into tons of touches. And basically that's what Madison would be walking into. That's a team that runs the ball, I think it's 53% of the time. And then Rashad Penny, that's a Seahawks team that runs the ball 30 times per game. Obviously, the asking price seemed to be high for him around the trade deadline. We heard that he might get dealt, but that didn't happen. So Rashad Penny is still the backup to Chris Carson. And Carson, let's be real, he hasn't been the most durable running back throughout his career. So Rashad Penny could have a valuable role. I do think that he's one of the better handcuffs to own. Those are guys that if they're on the waiver wire right now, they're probably going to be on the waiver wire for a long time. So I don't think you need to go crazy on them. I'm willing to spend 10 fab bucks on each of them if I have to. But again, if they're on the waiver wire, they probably are there for a reason. All right. Jalen Samuels is not on this list, guys. And I say that because we actually compiled this list in the video and all the graphics and stuff. We did that before the Monday night game. So if we had known that James Conner would injure his shoulder and maybe be questionable for this week, Jalen Samuels would have been on this list. So I will mention him here and say that Jalen Samuels is someone that you should be willing to pick up. I would actually put him probably over Mark Walton if you're looking for a 1-week solution, because the Colts, I mean, the matchup against them, it's not a great matchup on the ground, but they do allow a lot of production through the air to running backs going back to last year. So it's the defensive scheme that does it. And he's obviously a good pass catcher. He meshes well with Mason Rudolph, who's been like somewhat of a check down guy. So Jalen Samuels would be someone that he should be owned in all leagues right now with James Conner looking at potentially being out this week. And the last name on this list is Chris Herndon. Jonnu Smith is someone I would actually grab over Chris Herndon, but Herndon's on here because he's a potential long-term solution. Sam Darnold has been one of the worst, actually the worst deep ball passer in the NFL this year, and that's why you're seeing Robbie Anderson struggle to get things going. You see the most success over the middle of the field in the short area. He has some rapport with Chris Herndon. We saw him connect with Ryan Griffin for 2 touchdowns this past week, so he obviously... those confidence building throws, that's where Herndon's going to walk in. So he's someone that I definitely think would be, you definitely would want to grab him off the waiver wire, knowing that tight ends are just it's such a crapshoot. I mean, every single week we're kind of guessing as to what's going to happen and which players are going to be good streamers, and you're relying on injuries sometimes, and it's ugly. So grabbing Chris Herndon makes some sense. Let's see here. All right, guys, and that is basically the waiver wire stuff that I wanted to talk about. I didn't feel like we needed to go through a whole lot, just because, like, again, Bobby's not here with me, so less shenanigans, I think, is the best way I could put it. Bobby's usually razzing me about something or giving his input, so obviously it's shorter this week, but this allows me to take your questions, to go through and talk to you guys about whatever you might have questions about. Again, start-sit questions are going to be very difficult for me to do right now just because, again, I have not fully researched every single game. I usually have that done by Thursday morning when the primer comes out. So try and keep the start or sit questions away. But I'm willing to talk about some trade offers that you guys have received, some players that you believe are buys, holds, drops, whatever. Ask me if you should drop somebody for somebody, whatever the case may be. Let me get to the first one here. Hi Tags, do you think it's better to play Lamar Jackson against the Pats this week or stream Minshew or Darnold? Thanks, buddy. Yeah, I mean, this is one that I have researched that game, and Lamar Jackson's going to be a really difficult one for me to judge because going against Bill Belichick, he's a smart man. He's going to take away what you do best, and I'm really curious to see what Lamar Jackson's going to be able to do against that team, knowing that they've, in terms of like what they've allowed to their opponents points per game wise, we've seen that team shut down Josh Allen, and Josh Allen, he's not as fast as Lamar Jackson, but he's a mobile quarterback that they were able to contain in the matchups they've played against them. Minshew is probably going to be someone that I would trust over him. Minshew going against Houston. I mean, that Houston team, guys, like, not only did they lose Jadeveon Clowney this offseason, but losing J.J. Watt now. They're going to London, and they might be without their 3 top cornerbacks in that game, all backups. So, I mean, Minshew is very interesting to me. Houston has just been like, it's basically where you go to find fantasy points at the quarterback position. So I might play Minshew over Lamar Jackson because Minshew has come with a high floor. I think there was one game in there where he didn't hit that 16-point threshold, but overall, he's been a relatively safe quarterback, and he looked really good last week. Let's see, full PPR, trade Kelsey for Julio Jones. I would do that. I mean, if you have, so here's the thing. It's only if you have a tight end to take Kelsey's place, because I'm not going to trade a tight end right now. If you have one of the elite tight ends that we just plug into lineups, those aren't guys you just trade. You don't trade those guys away. Julio Jones, it's interesting because we just saw the first game without Mohamed Sanu, and Julio goes for over 150 yards with Matt Schaub under center. So Matt Ryan's going to be back after the bye, but knowing that Mohamed Sanu is gone, it's going to free up some of those targets. And the Falcons are a team that's going to pass the ball a ton. That defense is just horrendous. So I don't want to trade Julio. I don't want to trade Kelsey if I don't have to, but if you have another tight end on your roster that's part of like the top 8 group that we all know who they are, I'd hang on to Kelsey. It's just too valuable a position right now. All right, let's see. Same question as Leanne. All right, I answered that one already. All right, would you drop a high-end handcuff for Jalen Samuels or Mark Walton? No, I would not drop a high-end handcuff for Mark Walton. If you're in need of help right now, Jalen Samuels is definitely someone I would consider. I'm going to have Jalen Samuels ranked higher than Mark Walton this week. Walton's basically a guy that he's walking into a matchup with the Jets, but the Jets have allowed a lot of touchdowns to running backs, but they've only allowed 3.3 yards per carry. The issue with Walton is that he's not getting goal line carries. They're bringing in Kalen Ballage for those goal line carries, and that's a problem on a team that, like, he basically has to break a big play in order to hit value, and that's a problem. So I prefer Samuels to Mark Walton, but would I drop a high-end handcuff? Not if I'm not going to use them, then no. Let's see. Name 3 running backs you would trade Devonta Freeman for. Let me pull up my rest of season rankings, and I will actually tell you. I actually value Devonta Freeman more than probably most do. That's just because like I know he's a 3-down back in an offense that scores points. Josh Jacobs, nobody's going to give you Josh Jacobs for him. Melvin Gordon is someone that I would do. If you can get Melvin Gordon before he plays. Melvin Gordon's interesting, right? It's because so he has struggled, right? And I've heard so many people talk about the fact, oh, Melvin Gordon's so bad. He came back and he's 2.5 yards per carry. Oh, put Eckler in there. Guys, ever since he came back, the matchups haven't been there. It just hasn't been good. The offensive line hasn't blocked very well. Austin Eckler has averaged 1.9 yards per carry in that same exact time. It's just Eckler's getting it done more in the passing game, which he's always done. I happen to think that's the reason they fired Ken Wisenhunt. I think this is a team that they want to go back to the run-heavy game plan and pass when they have to. And they haven't really done that. Like they've only averaged 15 rushing attempts over the last 4 games. That's just not enough. Like you have to run the ball more than that. So I think Melvin Gordon is a good buy low. So that's who I would trade. I would attempt to trade Devonta Freeman for someone like Melvin Gordon. But outside of that, I wouldn't look to get rid of him. Samuels is a high-end handcuff. He kind of is, but I would prefer the guys that I've already talked about, like the Rashad Pennies, the Tony Pollards, the Alexander Madisons. I would rather have all those guys over Samuels. All right, let's see. Francis, as a Cook owner with only 2 bench spots, how do you value Madison? Oh, wait, 3 bench spots. I'm sorry. These glasses, by the way, they're like I can barely see out of them, so you guys know. So 3 bench spots. Whew, that's tough, man. That's really tough. I probably prioritize Madison more than most, especially if you own Cook. I've never played in a league with only 3 bench spots, so it's really difficult for me to answer that. I have to say that he's probably not supposed to be rostered because you're going to have to get through bye weeks. I don't know what your starting requirements are, but to get through bye weeks is going to be tough. That's going to be the hardest part with Madison. If you can hang on to him, yes, I would prioritize him, but man, that's tough. As the Carson owner, should I drop Walton for Penny? Yes, I would do that. Absolutely. Let's see. All right. Full PPR. What does the Drake mean for David Johnson the rest of the season? I believe it's more of a timeshare going forward. I mean, even when David Johnson returns, I mean, knowing that they traded for Kenyon Drake, it tells me that David Johnson, I don't think he's close to returning. I don't know if we could expect another week or 2 absence, but he's not playing on Thursday. We know that. So I've moved him down my rankings quite a bit as we go on. But even when he does return, it seems like Chase Edmonds was going to carve out a role for himself. Like even the last games that they were on the field together, Chase Edmonds offered value because he was getting touches. When you trade for Kenyon Drake's a good 3-down back. He's better than Chase Edmonds. And David Johnson, I mean, I think he loses value. I think that Drake is not going to be a startable asset because there's not going to be enough to go around. David Johnson's going to go back into that lead role, but he's probably going to be more of the RB2 variety than he was the RB1. Hooper on buy, starting Henry. Trade Henry after the buy or keep him for insurance. What would you value be for running back, wide receiver? It's a good question. I would be willing to trade him because the thing is, so many people are hurting with tight end. If you don't own a top 8 tight end, or if you do own a top 8 tight end, you don't know what it's like to stream the position this year. It is friggin' awful. So I'm going to pull up my handy dandy rankings here to see what I would value Hunter Henry around. Henry is up there right around Mark Andrews and Zach Ertz. So if you're going to be trading Hunter Henry away, who would I be looking for? I'd be looking for someone like Sony Michel. If you can get him, James White, if you need running back help, that's the range of running backs, but I would actually aim higher. I think that's fair market value. I would aim higher. Like if you need running backs, go and aim for someone like Melvin Gordon. Go and aim for someone like Devonta Freeman. You probably can land those guys for a tight end because again, people are going to pay extra for those tight ends now. That's where I would kind of value Hunter Henry at right now. And I would trade him. I would not hold on to a tight end just for insurance. I would not do that because you can't play that way in fantasy. All right, let's see. Traded Josh Jacobs for Le'Veon Bell. Is that a good trade? Yes, I think it is. I think it's a very good trade. They both play for bad teams. So it's, well, I'm sorry, Raiders fans. They don't play for both bad teams. Neither of them are on high scoring offenses. That's where I'm going to go with that. I don't want to get yelled at today. I really don't want to. But Le'Veon Bell, his upcoming schedule, I put this down. So he's going against the Dolphins this week. He gets the Giants, then the Redskins, then the Raiders, then the Bengals, and then the Dolphins again. And that Dolphins, the second matchup with the Dolphins is in New York, and it's during the first week of the fantasy playoffs. There's not much to dislike about that schedule, honestly. So Le'Veon Bell is one of the better buy lows. I have moved him down in my rankings where it's like I have him as my number 10 running back because like Sam Darnold hasn't targeted him as much since he's come back into the lineup, but I still value Le'Veon Bell higher than Josh Jacobs. Does the firing hurt Eckler's value? What's funny is like right before I started this live stream, I was writing up that game and I was looking into this backfield and trying to figure out what the coaching change meant. Some people believe that it means that Eckler is going to get more work. Some people believe that it's that they're going to, pass the ball more because they're not running the ball well. I don't think anybody really knows, but what makes sense to me is that going back to last year, where did this team succeed? They succeeded on the ground. It opens up the pass. The play action works. They don't have a number 3 wide receiver right now. There's been so many injuries in this team that it's like, me personally, that defense is not the defense that they were. They're allowing more points, and that's leading to more pass attempts. Yes, but they need to slow down. They need to not try and go toe to toe with teams because the Chargers defense can't do it. So personally, I think the coaching change was done because they've only run the ball 15 times, only 15 times a game the last 4 weeks. That's a problem. Like Ken Wisenhunt, do I think he deserved to get fired? I don't think so. Maybe they should have. I don't know if they had a talk with him, whatever, but they should have run the ball more against the Bears. That much I do know. There are alleys with them. So I don't know if it hurts Eckler's value. I don't know if it helps it, but I know one thing. The one player who can gain value from this is Melvin Gordon. I don't think they're going to go away from Melvin Gordon to Eckler. I think that's the last thing they're going to do, actually. But I do think that there's going to be a lot more running back touches to go around moving forward. So that's where I'm at that. Tyrell Williams or Mike Williams. Again, I haven't really gone through all the games this week. I haven't even written up Mike Williams yet, so I can't really comment on that. Again, I started writing up this game. I did the running backs. So I'm working my way through the games. That's why the starter sit questions are not great. Have Aaron Jones, James Conner, Latavius Murray. Should I drop Ronald Jones for Jalen Samuels? You could. You don't. Oh wait, you have Conner. So yeah, I think you definitely would because you're going to be starting Aaron Jones and Latavius Murray's on a bye. James Conner might not play, so you kind of need that insurance. I would take Jalen Samuels over Ronald Jones. I did look at that Bucs backfield and the percentage share, like the split, it's a 46, 43, and 11. That's the split it is in Tampa Bay. Like it's ugly. It's ugly. Really ugly. So yeah, I was hoping out of the bye week that things would change for that team, but they just didn't. So yeah. Let's see. You think you can play Latavius and Kamara after the bye? I absolutely do. This is going to be, this team is playing phenomenal defense. I don't think they're going to be involved in shootouts very often. I think that's the reason they went out and got Latavius Murray on the first day of free agency last year. Or second day, whatever it was. In need of running back help, would you trade Hooper for Melvin Gordon? I also own Waller. No, you aim higher than Melvin Gordon. If you have Austin Hooper, legit, he's the number 1 tight end in the game right now. And it's not to say that we would draft him that way, but he's the number 1 tight end. You should be getting like top tier value for him. Like if you don't get Derrick Henry or better, I wouldn't trade him for a running back. Le'Veon Bell, you should be able to get Le'Veon Bell for him. I'm being completely honest. If we were drafting again today, like right now, I think Austin Hooper would be a pick at the end of the second, beginning of the third round. I think he's exactly what you wanted George Kittle and Zach Ertz to be when people were drafting him there. So I would not sell him. I would not sell him for Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon's supposed to be a buy low. But yes, I would trade one of those though. I would trade Hooper or Waller. There is no way that I would keep both of them on my team, but don't sell for Melvin Gordon. Like Melvin Gordon's supposed to be a buy low. Yeah. So Melvin Gordon wouldn't be drafted anywhere near the top 2 rounds. Let's see. Have Saquon, Connor, and Aaron Jones. Lots of trades. My wide receivers are weak. PPR. Trade Aaron Jones for a top 5 wide receiver. Can you trade James Conner instead? I would prefer not to trade Aaron Jones. My bold prediction before the beginning of the season was that Aaron Jones would be considered a top 5 pick in fantasy drafts next year. He plays for a high-scoring offense. He's young. He's a 3-down back. He can get it done all. There's nothing to dislike about him. Someone asked me the other day, they're like, would you trade Aaron Jones for Nick Chubb? And I was like, no, I wouldn't. Knowing that Nick Chubb is going to have to deal with Kareem Hunt, we haven't seen what that looks like yet. So Nick Chubb is going to lose some value when he comes back for sure. I still think that Chubb is going to be the starter, but Aaron Jones is like, it's hard to say that he's not like a top 6 running back for the rest of the season. Full PPR, trade Kelsey for Julio Jones. All right, we talked. I already answered that one earlier. Half PPR, trade Chris Carson, Tyler Lockett, and Kyler Murray, or Kyler Murray or James White for Le'Veon Bell and Amari Cooper. All right, let's see. Chris Carson is like, I have him as a top 8 running back for the rest of the season. Tyler Lockett's a top 12 receiver. James White. No, I don't think I would do that trade. I mean, Kyler Murray is someone that I would definitely not be opposed to trading. Don't trade away James White. He's a good buy low. Like if you're in a league right now and you're looking for running back help that you've been struggling, you had David Johnson, James Conner, whatever the case may be, you've been struggling with running backs, go in and see what it would take to acquire James White. I mean, the guy has been solid. He's offered a consistent floor, and he scored like nothing. He has scored like 0 touchdowns. Well, I think it's like 1, but basically he's due for some like regression to the mean where it's like, we're going to see James White score some touchdowns and people are going to be like, oh, okay. He's like a low end RB2. Need a kicker for week 9. Anyone on your mind? Not really. Kickers are the last things that I do of the week. I mean, it's ugly. And honestly, of the 17 leagues I play in, 2 of them have kickers, and I can't stand the fact that they have kickers still. Add another flex spot. It helps. Let's see. Trade Winston with Ingram or Henry for Aaron Rodgers or Matt Ryan. I have Wentz and Winston right now. No, you don't need to trade. You don't need to trade it for another quarterback. Like, unless this is a 2 quarterback league, you don't have to trade. No, I don't think you need to. Winston's offered a high floor. Matt Ryan's coming off the injury. That offensive line has been terrible. I don't think you need to. Honestly, I think Wentz is a good buy low, but you have him on your roster. Let's see. Hey, Tags, appreciate what... Well, actually, by the way, Wentz is going to be a good buy low, like after their buy, I think it is. I was looking at his schedule, and I decided not to put him in the buy low section because he has a couple of tough matchups still to come. But then after those, like, he's going to be a good buy for the playoff run. Hey, Tags, appreciate what you do. I appreciate you for supporting. Let's see. Standard trade. Marlon Mack and Austin Eckler for Le'Veon Bell and Tyrell Williams. I'm down with that. I'll take the best player in the trade. The best player in that trade is Le'Veon Bell. Marlon Mack has been like a borderline RB2, game script dependent somewhat, hasn't offered the ceiling that you'd want. Austin Eckler could lose some value. I don't think he gains any value from the coaching change. So, yeah, I'd take Le'Veon. Andre asked, hey, Tags, as a Camaro owner, do you think that I should trade OBJ for Latavius and Kelsey? Other wide receivers are... Okay, so you had me at OBJ for Kelsey. Yes. If you are able to get Kelsey for Odell Beckham Jr., I would do that. Odell's going to have another bad game this week. They're playing against the Broncos. Chris Harris Jr. was not traded. And being he wasn't traded, it means that he's going to shadow Odell Beckham in this game. If you look at the game logs in regards to what he's allowed to wide receivers this year, it's a whole lot of like 4 catches for 40 yards. And that's number 1 receivers. Like, the list is very impressive. So it's going to be another tough week for him. I would take Kelsey 100%. All right. And the fact that you're getting Latavius is just a bonus. Let's see. Cartier. David Johnson trade value right now. It's dropping, literally. It's dropping by the day. I probably still have him higher than he should be. I would expect maybe someone like Tyler Lockett in exchange. Maybe you can get Allen Robinson. That's basically how I have his value, down in RB2 range. All right. I'm going to get to a couple more here, guys. Let's see. Is Mixon worth buying low? I don't think so. No. Now they're going to Ryan Finley as a starting quarterback. If you guys didn't hear, Andy Dalton is getting benched, which, I mean, yeah, because he's the problem that you guys are 0-8 or 0-7, whatever it is. 0-8, yeah. No, it's, I don't, he's a running back that's very talented, but he's behind a terrible offensive line on a terrible team, and he's not being used in the passing game, which is really disappointing. Coleman rest of year. Yeah, actually, I just moved him up recently over David Johnson for the rest of the year. He's a top 15 running back for me right now. With how good that defense is playing, knowing that Matt Breida is dinged up, there's reasons to like Coleman. Kyle Shanahan has showed he's the only running back that he's willing to give the 20 touches to is Tevin Coleman. Is Armstead worth rostering as a 4-net handcuff? I don't think it's necessary. It's not like an elite offense that you need to handcuff. Already have Cook in handcuff and wonder if I should fill that spot with another wide receiver for options. Yeah, I don't think it's necessary to get Raquel Armstead as a handcuff. I don't think he would walk in and just be like dominant. Like, he would definitely be a waiver wire ad, and you'd probably play him as like a running back too. But I don't think he's not a guy that I'd be like willing to unload my fab budget on, like guys like Madison or Rashad Penny. Let's see. I've got Bell, Jacobs, Gordon as my running backs. Sitting up top and looking towards the finals, should I upgrade the running back position? Kamara owner may be willing. I mean, yeah, if you're able to. I mean, again, Le'Veon Bell is a good buy low, but if you have someone in your league that's trying to buy Le'Veon Bell, you understand what they're trying to do. So maybe you can take advantage of that. Jacobs is fine. I haven't looked at his schedule, his upcoming schedule. In particular, like I'm on a week-to-week basis. There's guys with FantasyPros, if you guys check it out, they do trade targets for the fantasy playoffs and things like that, that they've looked ahead at schedules where it's like I'm more week-to-week, like literally just focusing on that particular week. I'll take a look at some players just because I'm looking at buy sells, but yeah, I mean, if you're able to get Kamara, I'm more than willing to do that. Some people are panicking on Kamara, actually. They're saying that Latavius Murray's carved out a bigger role. I think he already had a role. And it's like Mark Ingram. He's going to have the Mark Ingram role, and Alvin Kamara is going to be just fine. I like Kamara. Should I drop McCoy for Jalen Samuels? I have Gurley and Kamara on bye. I don't think I want to do that because McCoy should still have the starting job. I mean, he got benched for fumbling, and it is what it is. But he's probably still the starting running back. I can't see Damian Williams getting it, whereas Samuels, we don't even know if he's going to start. He could just be a handcuff. So once Patrick Mahomes comes back, which, by the way, it could be this week, McCoy's going to have value again. So I don't think I would do that. Josh Allen over Winston this week. It's really close. I think Allen's the safer option, of course, because of what he offers, but they're not going to throw the ball a whole lot against Washington. It's really close. I haven't finessed that part of the rankings, but I think I have them right next to each other. Let's see. Got our questions answered, Gloria? Yes, you did. Awesome. But guys, this has been fun. I hope you enjoyed it. I did not enjoy looking through these glasses for a half hour straight. But yeah, make sure you guys do me a favor. Click the like button below. Subscribe to the channel. Again, I do a live show on Sunday mornings at 11 Eastern time. And in the middle of that show is when all the inactives, like the players who have been injured that we talk about on the show, it's like, what is the immediate impact if someone's ruled inactive? And I can answer those questions for you. We have a good time in there. You know, a lot of people talk in the chat. And yeah, it's always fun. Bobby's going to do his start or sit live stream on Thursday. So again, click the subscribe button to get notified when all that stuff takes place. But yeah, that's gonna close us out for this stream, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the Napoleon Dynamite appearance. Happy Halloween. Go out there and, you know, have fun with your kids. Don't eat all their candy. And yeah, until next time, guys.